What's up, everybody? It is Jared with Capture the Magic, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at the wait times at Epic Universe because we had talked about how being there on opening day and the opening weekend that there were very low wait times, very low crowds, and it seems like that trend has not held true as crowds seem to be coming into Epic Universe, and we're seeing some of the same performance issues that these rides suffered from during previews pop up a little bit during this period. And we also have some information about in 2026, it looks like you will have more access to Epic Universe and probably, I would also guess, annual passes at that point. And we also have an update about the flying dragons that are supposed to be part of the Isle of Berk. And as of now, we have not seen them during most of the previews. We haven't seen them during any of the opening ceremony, grand opening ceremony, or the live stream to do with that. And really up to this point, we haven't seen them in the park, but there is an update on that about when we could expect to see these dragons start showing up in the Isle of Berk as well. So that's what we're going to take a look at today and give some thoughts on all this. We had talked about, we were there for opening day and how the big surprise of that, which everybody was there on, day 1, day 2, and day 3 of that weekend was the fact that most rides were just complete walk-ons. I mean, we were literally 5-minute wait, 10-minute wait here and there. But even when it said 5-minute wait, I mean, you were basically able to just walk right onto rides outside of Battle at the Ministry. But we were able to see some of the ride times for that be as low as 30 minutes getting toward the end of the night on some of these days. And when it comes to the reason as to why the opening time period saw the lower crowds and the lower wait times, I don't think it was one single thing. I do think there was a lot of people that stayed away from the opening just because the assumption being that it was going to be crazy and these rides are all going to be delayed. And also, I do believe Universal was really heavily restricting access, not making it where you couldn't go, but making it more difficult for people to wanting to go the day of and making it where this park just really wasn't that busy on the opening weekend. But obviously that trend did not hold true for very long. So looking over here at Thrill data as of today, in the last couple of days, it's kind of been the same story here. You're seeing the wait times like Constellation Carousel at this moment is 20 minutes. Curse of the Werewolf is 80 minutes. Dragon Racers Rally is 45 minutes. Fire Drill is down, but it was like I think it was a 50-minute wait for Fire Drill earlier today. Battle at the Ministry, 150-minute wait. Hiccups Wing Gliders, 50 minutes. Mario Kart, 75. Toothless Meet and Greet, 75 minutes. Minecart Madness, 80 minutes. Monsters Unchained, 40, which that has been as low as 20 minutes earlier today, but that one is probably the best performing ride in the park in terms of moving people through it. Stardust Racers is a 45-minute wait, and Yoshi's Adventure is a 50-minute wait. And we've also seen as well, yesterday was not a great day for the park as there was rain that came in. And one of the weaknesses of Epic Universe is when it rains, you're only going to have 4 or 5 attractions be open. And there was a lot of rain in the area yesterday. And a lot of people, this is from Epic Universe Update. And he's saying, I'm not sure this is what Universal had in mind when they wanted guests to experience the park at night. And it's showing that it's somewhere after midnight. And there's large lines for the guest services to essentially, my assumption being people complaining about the rides not being available and probably wanting a refund or something like that. And so, you saw yesterday what can happen when it rains. And obviously these rides are still working through some of their issues, which I think is the reason that Universal in the very opening period really limited this park, because I think they know deep down that they're still working through these issues, and it is going to take a little bit for these rides to really get to the point where they're running, smoothly every single day. And this is something we talked about many times about people wondering when they should visit. And even though the opening day, the opening time period saw pretty good reliability from these rides, these things are still going to pop up as this park is still working out the kinks with these rides. So I've been telling people the entire time, like, you may get lucky on certain days, but on some days it may get really bad. And we saw one yesterday with that being the case. But I think in general, it still holds true that you give this park a couple of months to really work through the kinks. And I think this is what you're seeing also when it comes to where they're putting the park capacity, because as of right now, most of the days here look like it's 15,000 or so. And then still starting July 1st, they're bumping it up to 22,000, and they're probably going to just slowly work up capacity at Epic Universe. So in the early going, I think it was really good for the park to open with the lower crowds, people being happy, the rides seemingly running most of the time. But even with that performance, it's just one of these things with a new park, this is going to happen. You're going to have better days, you're going to have bad days. And if you're going in the early time period, you do run the potential of running into some of these days that are really bad. And with the rain being an issue, when it rains in Florida, a lot of these rides are going to go down, which is definitely a weakness of this park. And from what I'm being told, Universal understands this. And might have something. We'll see. There's a lot of, I guess you could just say, in the rumor mill about things that'll be coming to Epic Universe that will help when it rains. But basically, my assumption is being indoor attractions and things of that nature, because that is going to be something that it's just going to rain. And when these rides shut down for the rain, obviously these crowds have to go somewhere. Now, there's lots of food options. There's a lot of things in these lands to do, but obviously most people want to do attractions. And when most of those are down, it's going to cause wait times to really balloon up in the rides that are going to be running whenever it does rain. It seems like the low wait times and the low crowds are already gone. Didn't take very long. It was interesting to see people were already criticizing Epic Universe, saying that there was no, demand for this. Like, look at nobody's in the park. And then just a few days later, now some of the same complaints are on the other end, saying that this park has not enough to do. The capacity is too high and the wait times are too high.
Then there is no pleasing you.
And I think undoubtedly there's just some places that are going to find reasons to criticize Epic Universe no matter what they do. But I always felt that early period there was just almost a fluke, again, because I was not expecting opening day to be essentially I'm not going to say a ghost town, but just very low crowds, be able to walk onto everything, and that didn't even hardly last more than a week. I mean, it was even to the point where Universal was refunding people that had purchased express passes, even if they'd used them on these days, because there was really just no need for it. It seems that although they may have made some strides on certain rides, they're not going to have it all the way worked out just yet. So if you are going in this early period, keep that in mind. If you're kind of waiting on the outside looking in on when to go, personally speaking, I would still say give this park a couple of months to at least see how it's operating, see if these days where it's really bad are few and far between. As theme parks are going to have bad days. Any park that, even if it's been around for 15 years, they're going to have days where some of these rides go down a lot. So that's something that theme parks deal with constantly. But when you have a park full of brand new rides and attractions, their chances of having a lot of these issues definitely go up quite a bit. And then we also have some interesting news, and this is from Universal's website itself, and it seems like, because as of right now, you can't park hop from any of the other Universal parks to Epic Universe, but seemingly starting in 2026, you will be able to park hop. And they have this 4-day park-to-park ticket for an adult, and it says the 4-day park-to-park ticket entitles one guest admission to Universal Studios Florida, Islands of Adventure, and Epic Universe theme parks on any 4 calendar days. So they're including the park-to-park ticket, which is their way of phrasing park hopping is available, including Epic Universe. So it seems like a lot of these restrictions are already looking to open up in 2026. We already know about the international ticket that's available, where even on a 15-day trip, you have access to Epic Universe on all days of that trip. And I would say, given that we're already looking at park hopping being available in 2026, my assumption has been all along you will see an annual pass holder offering for Epic Universe sometime in 2026. I know there's a lot of people, myself included, that are maybe hoping this year to see an annual pass holder option for Epic Universe. But seeing how, obviously, in the early opening of the park being the lower crowds, a lot of people were thinking, oh, this could happen sooner than later. But I think you're already starting to see people come in here. People had trips planned already, and obviously Epic Universe is very busy. So I don't know if I see that happening this year. A lot of it's going to depend on how the rest of the summer and the rest of the year goes, of course. But I've been saying all along it'll be sometime in 2026. It doesn't mean that just because park hopping is going to be an option in 2026, as it looks like right here, that annual pass holder option will be added then. But I do think in 2026, that is when an annual pass holder option will be added. So personally speaking, as someone who wants to go to this park more, I don't want to have to pay $130, $140 every time to go to this park. So I think there's a lot of locals and annual pass holders that are going to wait on this before going to this park quite a bit. So I think what everybody was kind of expecting to happen with Epic Universe is and has been happening. It just happened a couple of days later than people anticipated, as the opening was very different, I guess you could just say, from what we're seeing right now, and more than likely what we're going to see the rest of the year, as I do think there's still, there's a lot of demand, a lot of anticipation for this park. A lot of people want to go here, and I think we're starting to see that happen here. And another interesting thing about Epic Universe, and BioReconstruct notes this in a picture he took because he flies around and gets a lot of pictures, is that the flying dragons that were announced for Isle of Berk really have not been seen. They haven't been seen during the media preview day. They weren't seen during the grand opening party. They weren't seen in the grand opening morning, and they are not mentioned at all in the opening live stream. And we have seen it being tested at various points during the construction progress, but we do have an update on that from Scott Gustin, that Universal Creatives told Brady McDonald the dragon drones we've seen over Epic Universe are prototypes. Universal's Ryan Paul said they're still fine-tuning the show, but it's right at the threshold of being able to release. And this is the quote here. It goes, "The aerial drones will fall into two dragon classes, Gronkles and Monstrous Nightmares. Gronkles are medium-sized boulder-class dragons that are chunky and cute with gigantic heads, short bodies, and relatively small wings that beat as fast as a hummingbird. Monstrous Nightmares are large Stoker-class dragons that have long, snake-like necks and tails with sharp spines and a gigantic mouth capable of swallowing a Viking. Universal Creative is still fine-tuning the Dragon Aerial Drone Show, and they said that's been a long time coming, and it's right at the threshold of being able to release," Paul said. "Once we have that integrated and actually running as the show we want it to, it'll really add to the skyline." So it seems that this is something that is being still worked on, as a lot of things with Epic Universe are, the rides are still working through their issues. And it seems like the Dragon Show here is something that is going to be part of this. They just haven't had it ready yet. And they didn't really go into some of the reasons behind it, but at least it seems like at this point, this still is something that's happening. This is something I was really hoping wasn't just going to be something that was kind of teased and promised, but never delivered on. So it seems like that's still in the works there. So that is good to hear that it's still coming, and hopefully we see that. I would assume sometime in the next few months, we probably see that come online, as I do think that'll add a really cool aspect to an already great land, which is the Isle of Berk, but having flying dragons above that, I do think will add quite a bit of immersion to that. All in all, just want to make an update video on kind of where Epic Universe stands as of right now, kind of the trends we're already seeing, and they're definitely changing kind of rapidly here as you go from kind of walk on to everything opening day to now we're seeing 90+ minute waits on a lot of attractions. And I really think that the days of walking onto all these attractions are already over. I kind of assumed that. That's why when we were in line for Battle that I talked about in our review, I was like, we have to take advantage of these these wait times here, because I just do not imagine outside of special events or just some circumstance that just happens once in a blue moon that you're going to see a time in this park where things are just literally 5-10 minute wait walk on. So seems we're already past that, and it's probably only going to get busier from here as we're going into the fall and the winter, and that is typically lately been more of the busier time of year than the summertime. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on here, and we'll, of course, on this channel we'll watch all this and see what the park trends look like. But as now, that's what it looks like here. So we're looking to go to Epic Universe. The wait times are already increased, and my hope of going back here and experiencing this park with lower wait times is already kind of dashed. I was kind of hoping to take advantage of that, but it seems like that time is already past us, and this park is kind of operating how it was during the previews, which is kind of up and down. Some days are good, some days are bad, and I think that's going to be the case ongoing until this, this park kind of proves itself that these rides can really run consecutively days and weeks without having many issues here. So that's kind of where it stands now with Epic Universe. Just want to make a video on that to update everybody there. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about all this? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.